road, and I looked out, and the whole valley was a lake. Some of you old-timers, you remember that. It was a lake. That river every year, and all of those farms down there, that's why those houses down there, if you can find an old house down there, it's built about 10 feet off the ground. Because the water every year, just flood, every year, flood. And you could have bought it for nothing. Don't rehash the past. It'll never flood again, and you couldn't afford a foot of that ground down there. Learn the lesson. Don't go over the past. Don't rehash it. Bob Heston and I are the two of the worst people for rehashing the past. We are absolutely horrible. We sit and get together and have coffee on Thursday, and all we do is talk about our old police days. How stupid we were to quit. We both realized it, and we finally said, shut up, we're not going to talk about it no more. The very thing we get together the next time, the very thing we start talking about it. Don't rehash the past. Forget it. Yes, you could have bought that house for $40,000, but now it's $400,000. And when it was $40,000, you didn't have $40,000. Plead the blood over yourself, your family, your finances, your job, your mind, and your health. Plead the blood. Well, that's something you don't hear a lot of anymore. See, it's offensive. That blood, No. It's biblical. Plead the blood. Look at Hebrews. Just turn to Hebrews real quick. If I can find it. There it is. Hebrews 12. Look at it. Look what it says. Oh, Hebrews, where are you? 12th chapter, 24th verse. Listen what it says. So Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaks better things than that of Abel. Sprinkling. In other words, when you're applying the blood, what you're doing, you're applying the blood. Remember they put the blood on the doorpost and they were saved from the destroyer? That's what you're doing in your own life. At night when we go to bed and I tuck my wife in bed, I pray over her and I apply the blood. I pray the blood over her. I pray it over our house, over our finances, over everything. Because it's a protector from the destroyer. He can't get through the blood. He can't get through the blood. And you have to believe that. You have to apply that blood. You actually sprinkle it on yourself as if you're actually sprinkling it. It's an act of faith. Plead the blood. And there's a couple more here that I wanted to touch on. Challenge the enemy. When he challenges you, you challenge him. Jesus did it, so can we. It is written. When he says you're not going to get that job, you're not going to get that promotion, you're not going to get that finance, you're not going to get that raise, you're not going to get this, you're not going to get, but Jesus said, it is written. It is written. Number 4, I believe it is. Pray the prayer of faith. Pray the prayer of faith. The prayer of faith is not when you pray once and that's it. That's not the prayer of faith. Some people, I've heard people preach on that. What are you talking about? The prayer of faith is to pray until you get what you want. Or you overcome and you know you've got a breakthrough. You say, how do you say? Okay, go back to James. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church, anointing with oil, and the prayer of faith will save the sick. What's the prayer of faith? He says it in the next verse. He relates to Elijah. I'm not quoting it out of the Bible because of the time element. But he talks about Elijah. What did Elijah do? My goodness, everybody knows about Elijah. He went on the Mount of Carmel, and he prayed one time, and it started to rain, right? No! He prayed again, and again, and again, and again. Finally, the 7th time, there's a cloud the size of a man's hand, and he knew he had the promise. That's the prayer of faith. Don't give up. We're going to talk about that next week. Next one is, it's a wrestling match. It's not a tag team match. It's a wrestling match where you get together. You're fighting the enemy. You're fighting him. And you don't tag and you say, well, I'm going home now, Pastor. You take care of it for the rest of the week. How are you going to work? It's not a tag team. It's a wrestling match. Paul writes it in Ephesians. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We're wrestling against spiritual entities, principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places, bringing sickness and disease and all the things they can possibly bring. The prayer of faith is to keep going when nothing is going. Nothing's happening, and you keep praying. You want a miracle? Yeah. It happens. But if you actually go in the Bible, there's more people who had to wait than anything else. Abraham had to wait 25 years. Joshua had to walk around that wall 7 times, 7 days. Elijah, same thing, all of them. All of them down the line, they had to wait. They had to wait. And I want to encourage you. The prayer of faith is you just, okay, nothing's going, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. That's right.
I don't see anything changing, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to keep going.
Amen. Yeah.
Moses had 10 trips before Pharaoh. Nobody knows how long it took each trip, but they say usually about a month. So that's about a year, 10 months, before he got his breakthrough. Elijah had to rebuild the altar before he got his victory. And Joseph, poor Joseph, he went to the pit, to the prison before he got promotion. He had to go through that cycle. I was born for this hour. I was born for this hour. I believe that with all my heart. And I was born to see the glory and the presence of God return to our churches. That's my job. We're leaving for India in a couple of weeks. And what they're waiting for over there, and this is their word, we need the presence of God. And I said to them, you got the man. I'll be there. I believe that. And because I believe it, I can see it. What we tolerate will dominate us. Do you see yourself a victim or victory? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself a victim? Or do you see yourself victorious? Do you see yourself unfair? Life has been unfair to you? All these breaks that have gone, all these things, all these divorces you've had to go through, and this and all the problems, and the loss of job, and all of the things that have gone. Do you look at life unfair to you because you made bad choices? Some of those have not been the devil, it's been you making the wrong choices. Do you see yourself living in the past more and more? I think older people do. I don't know why. I guess because we had good times. We've had a wonderful life. We've really had a good life. There's not a lot of bad thoughts in our life. I was looking at a picture this morning I have in my office of my daughter, one of my daughters and my son. This is before my third child was born. And we're standing out behind our house, and I came home for lunch or something, and I had my police motorcycle, and I was in uniform, and I have my daughter and my first Michelle, and I have Ricky standing by me, and Michelle's about this tall, and Ricky's about that tall, and they're looking up at me like I'm some god that just came off of another planet, because police uniform, badge, gun, the whole bit. And I was looking at that this morning. See, there's good things that have happened in our lives too. You say, well, never think of the past. No, never think of the bad things in the past. Keep off of them. We all had bad things that happened in the past. There's a lot of good things that have happened. We've had a great life. We've had a great life, and we're having a great life now. Today's verse for you, yet in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us. Amen. We are more than conquerors. He's already paved the way. He's already made the way. The door is open. The blood has been shed. And everything. He's beat the devil. And He's told us how to beat the devil. It is written. It is written. And the devil said, I'm going to come back and see you later. And he did. And Jesus won the battle for us. Jesus isn't looking at your back tracks. He's telling you what is ahead in Him. That's what your lesson is about today. This is what's ahead. Forget the past. It's right in Philippians. Forgetting the past and pressing on to what God has for you. He's got good things for you. You say, well, Pastor, I've got this problem. You need to overcome that. You need to cast that down today. That's a stronghold that He's trying to set up in your life. That's a stronghold that He's trying to put in your life to destroy your life. He does it to me, He'll do it to you. And I encourage you today. You say, well, Pastor, maybe you need somebody to pray with you. You need to have somebody